Not a bad choice. Not bad at all. Welcome back to another chapter of Mortal Kombat Vengeance. Last time, we just went through the flashback scenes involving Sonya and Johnny Cage as they actually received a call from Stryker from New York. And from their Special Forces base, they headed there following the location of his signal. And apparently Cabal was hospitalized by the uprising of the Red Dragons, but mostly from their traitor, Su Hao. So Su Hao actually betrayed the Special Forces and attacked Stryker and Cabal. And now he's working for the Red Dragons, since the Black Dragons have been wiped out. Fortunately, they were saved by Fujin, and he actually stated to them that their mission is going to change trajectory because their old enemies have returned, the Deadly Alliance. Liu Kang was killed by them and had his soul spared, which to Johnny, of course, he was a little skeptical about. So they headed to Shang Tsung's island. But Fujin is not done gathering recruits just yet. He still has a few more to go. So let's get this going, shall we? Alright, continuation 3, embarking to Outworld. Again. It was now daylight and Fujin just arrived in Japan. It didn't take long for him to travel from place to place considering he was the god of wind, utilizing his funnels as transport. Why can't they use Fujin and Deadly Alliance and Deception? Why Armageddon? He's got so much potential. Air, in this case, can move as fast as the incredible speed of light. Fujin first visited the towering 50-foot Shirai Ryu base. The clan had been reformed by Hanzo after the falls of Shinnok and Quan, and recently they'd received a baby in a basket out of nowhere. Some clan members, while they were training, heard some whines, or cries, and followed them to the source at the front step. Sure enough, it was an infant with black hair with a yellow headband matching his own one-piece outfit, and he was brought in. One of the male fighters, wearing the usual Shirai Ryu uniform, stormed in and alerted, "Grandmaster Hanzo, you wouldn't believe this, but there happens to be an infant on our doorstep. He was delivered inside a handbasket." Hanzo had on the usual garb, but without his yellow mask and black hood. Instead, his face was shown with a thin... Basically, it's his attire in MK10, in his human form. A baby? Why would there be a baby here at a time like this? I'm trying my best with the Russell Crowe impression. Anyway, there were exotic symbols and a wailing newborn. He stepped closer and examined the pamphlet, which to him looked like it was written in Thai. He requested for one of his men to read it, because it was from Thailand, not Japan. "To my most trusted friend Hanzo, please watch over my lonesome son. I cannot leave him within the care of the Thai nor the Chinese nurseries, as one is primitive while the others are militaristic. I'm on my way to chase after the bastard who blinded me, and thus I needed someone else to write this request. Perhaps my last. Please take care of the child while I'm away. Chances are I may not return. I have but one goal, to slay the sorcerer who blinded me. You are my only salvation, Hanzo Hasashi. For his sake and mine, look after Takeda, Takahashi. Regards, Kenshi." He signed his name in Thai. Kenshi? Kenshi Takahashi? I thought he joined the Special Forces. I'd heard he passed all tests with flying colors. Sonya and Jax enlisted his help. Soon after, he found a sacred sword from a well which was believed to be the burial of his ancestors. If I'm right, he might have gone to Outworld. Baby began to cry harder, which distracted Hanzo. He looked over the basket one of the ninjas was holding, and he just stopped as he stared at it. Slowly he picked up the kid, and he began to sob less and less. He opened his baggy black eyes and gazed onto the man who was holding him. He began to silence himself, and Hanzo couldn't help but gaze back. "Master, are you all right?" Hanzo never looked away. "Yes, I'm fine. It's just, I can't help but feel that this baby reminds me of my son, Satoshi Hasashi." He always went by his pet name, Jubei. Suddenly he felt a warm sensation onto his black boots. He looked down, and to his surprise, there were droplets coming from Takeda's underside. All the baby did was smile and coo at Hanzo. The rancid stench was beginning to get to him. Can any of you wash this kid and get him into a fresher clothes?" "Of course, master." One of the disciples carried Takeda away, who was still grinning as he looked back at him. All Hanzo did was gruff at the odor and hot mess, before he received a more vehement tone. "I had brought the child over to the Shiraryu to keep him safe." The humanized wraith looked behind to see Fujin standing proudly at the epicenter of the red mat. All he did was bow to the new protector of Earthrealm. "I want to thank you for doing so. Kenshi said he's on his way to Outworld with the investigation agency to massacre Shang Tsung, since he went blind." Indeed, the ruthless samurai had followed a man named Tsung to find the secret well, the burial of his ancestors, and a certain special sword. He was able to locate it, but unfortunately the blade went awry and berserk, as souls began to overwhelm the warrior. He was fortunate enough that the sacred sword voiced to him, after he was left to die while Shang absorbed those erratic essences. Kenshi has been gone ever since, and I granted him his favor while he's out there looking for Cyrax and Jax. If I know him, he would have taken a portal right about now. I appreciate the news flash, Lord Fujin. I will make sure that Takeda is safe." Fujin's face fell. "There's some more unfortunate news. Liu Kang, our former champion, was slain by Shang Tsung, even though my brother Raiden saved his soul." "What? This can't be happening! Liu Kang would have won against the vile sorcerer." "After 5 centuries, the deadly alliance has been reforged. Your personal assailant, Quan, he has aided Shang in his endeavors. It was bad enough on having the resurrected Oriental attack Earth once more, but conspiring with Hanzo's ultimate target, the one who massacred his family and clan so long ago, and lying about it." Hanzo's body began to tremble. "I sympathize with your plight, but you must now make a choice, Hanzo. Come with me, as I shall recruit your partner Kuai, or stay and care for the child. Which would it be?" He gave him several moments to ponder everything and rethink his options. Just then fragments of Hanzo's own son flashed back into his mind, as well as the sudden delivery of Takeda. Recalling his distant friend Kenshi and how talented he was as a swordsman, he stated his goal clearly. Fujin then left to the bone-freezing, perilous icy region of Arctica. Just recently, in the vast bitter northern pole, a young slim female ninja named Frost won a small tournament. She just took out one of the Grandmaster's prominent comrades with a flying arm bar and became Kuai's prodigy. Each of the guys cheered, including Thomas, who stood out the most in his dark gray garb, compared to the usual cerulean uniforms. "By the power vested in me and the judge's unanimous decision, our newest and most honorable apprentice is Frost. Congratulations, Lin Kuei champion." As if on cue of the clan's roars, they also heard a strong squall of wind and loose snow blow against the walls at the base. Damn. Damn, I'm gonna start again. Alright, where have I left off? Here's the usual uniforms, blah blah blah. Alright, here we go. The guardsmen from the Twin Towers looked and noticed a sudden funnel from within the courtyard. Then an elderly figure with a long white ponytail broke out of it. The Lin Kuei thought it was another dangerous ice storm, though it was only the new guardian of Earthrealm, Fujin. He informed the news of Liu Kang's death, though his soul was saved, and his old nemesis have returned. The Watchtower's guards ran into the main chamber and passed the news on to the Grandmaster. They could have sworn that Kuai's blood just ran as cold as the very desert in which they created their base, which took over a year to complete. Shang Tsung and Quan, they both are alive and returned to Earthrealm, and nearly killed our ally Liu Kang. It was difficult for him to process these stressful scenarios. I'm still not used to the pronunciation yet. If I may, I shall assist you as we should meet Lord Raiden at the deserted island. Smoke broke through the stunned silence. No! I cannot risk losing another brother! Recalling Sub-Zero's failures and leaving Smoke behind as he escaped from the corrupted Lin Kuei cyber initiative, and nearly losing him as he was being reprogrammed by Nightwolf, he cannot possibly bear it. He was, however, grateful that Hanzo shall be by his side. Then his face fell as Kuai became worried if Hanzo got involved, as if he'll no longer be himself. Grandmaster, I shall join you! The fallen ninjas couldn't help but groan, affirming Frost's request considering they were all battered, while she was standing as firm as a tree. You wish to come with me? To Shang Tsung's island and stepping into enemy territory? All she did was nod and confirm her statement. Frost, this isn't an exhibition anymore. It's a matter of life and death. The demonic sorcerers and the warriors are highly skilled. Besides, you are a... Why does it matter? I have what it takes since I won the competition, don't I? Indeed she has. I may be a cyborg, so having me may be a better chance. But I doubt you'd endure the deadly alliance with just you and Hanzo. She can be quite the decoy, if there happens to be two cryomancers. Frost, if anything should happen to you, I will never forgive myself. It'll all be on me, Grandmaster. It's my decision. It's about time we Lin Kuei exercise free will. This is my chance to prove myself. Frost was determined to carry on the Lin Kuei clan, and just like the war with Shinnok, Smoke held the fort. By the time Fujin returned to Osaka, Hanzo reunited with his former rival of the opposite elemental. After low bows and a firm handshake, the former revenant mentioned that Kuai needed to give the cyborg a chance since he was surprised that he was willing to risk everything on a headstrong rookie. The cryomancer was just reluctant on losing his surrogate brother since his conversion by Oniro. Frost indeed proved her worth by plowing through each of her opponents like snow dunes. With the news of Liu Kang's partial demise, he couldn't fathom to lose another crucial ally. Hanzo sighed as he nodded and warned Sub-Zero to be his wingman, that once he should revert to his wraith persona as he'd encounter Quan, he can lose all control. Kuai understood the consequences, recalling all the unpleasantries fighting against him since the second tournament began. After the Shiraryu leader declared he'll be leaving for Outworld and bring peace back to his clan, gathered with Kuai and Frost before they were lifted off their feet. Back on the beach of Shang Tsung's former hideout, Nightwolf continued to spar with Kung Lao while having Liu Kang's soul inside his body. The shaman figured it'd be the best way to train the two monks, while combined in conjunction with him and Kiba matching their own power boosts. I guess it's good for something. Sonya gave Aiko some pointers as well while Raiden and Johnny stood by, even when the cardiokinetic managed to produce a spin kick while Sonya held her foot aloft. The force of it was just a strong push. The trained combatants felt a sudden heavy gust. Their eyes beheld a skinny funnel just a few miles away. Raiden assured it wasn't a tornado as he raised an arm. By the time the F-Zero dissipated, 4 figures walked toward the group as they followed the shoals. Kiba? Nightwolf straightened his body as he allowed his wolf to exit his vessel. Both bodies glowed while Kiba jumped out from his owner's chest. He shook off before he trotted toward Kuai. The Ice Warrior bent down and petted him as did Frost. He smelt each of the combatants and gave out a subtle bark, letting the heroes know they were real. If I am correct, Tsung should have been in Outworld by now. He then bowed to his former rival Kung Lao, which is precisely where we are going, resulting in murmurs from his peers. I'll let you all gather your bearings before we will proceed. If memory serves, then both sorcerers must have taken the celestial portal there. The celestial portal? The warp point between Earthrealm and Outworld. Precisely. Only deities and sorcerers know of this mystical plane of existence. But you must all know full well I have no powers once we should cross over. Lope. I was afraid you'd say that. Huh. I thought we'd be taking that creepy-ass boat Shang Tsung had. No. The 2 demon sorcerers are using it for their own endeavors, to transport each of their victims' souls to his grand palace in order to awaken the Dragon King and his mummified army. Gave each of the heroes an hour for last-minute preparations, which also gave them enough time to introduce one another, especially to Frost, who seemed to warm up to Sonya and Aiko, even being impressed on their past victories and having a rare cardiokinetic. By the time the sun hit the distant barren horizon of the ocean, and with all the heroes gathered, even Fujin, who wanted to help his brother, were rallied at the epicenter of Shang Tsung's island. Hanzo volunteered to avenge his family again, as well as Liu Kang, and warned everyone that if he meets his enemy, he won't have control over his wraith self. He also promised he would find Sonya's and Johnny's distant ally, Kenshi. Kung Lao knew and read up on stressors and triggers due to Aiko's sensitive mind as an autistic amongst other things. Even Kung Lao is aware of her limitations. I can only take you as far as the celestial portal. From there, you're left with your own devices. Are you all ready? The group nodded, with Aiko and Frost affirming slowly due to nervousness. A ring of neon blue light appeared around the heroes before they disappeared in a glowing field. Contrary to the double-crossing Frost in the games, the ideas in using her was actually inspired by the amazing sprite animation, Mortal Kombat Reconciliation. Sure, Kuai, as the new Grandmaster, possesses the Dragon Medallion, and Frost grew envious over him. But in that epic, I truly admired both cryomancers working together against Quan and his warriors. Besides, 2 of the same elementals is certainly better than 1. Having more strong ladies is just as good. About Smoke, though, I was nervous on using him since he'd be reprogrammed by Noob Saibot by deception, as I found out Smoke has been left for dead in an Outworld prison for 12 years since Khan's invasion. I was a bit reluctant on using him, hence Hanzo's and Kuai's reactions. And there are the songs for that. So we finally gathered all the Earthrealm warriors and embark into Outworld again, since the second tournament, which was a tie-in to Mortal Kombat Shaolin monks. Contrary to the game, Jax isn't in the party since he's been theorized he's in Outworld with Kenshi and Cyrax. I was going to highlight the portal, but it just seemed radically different, as there's a trial you must endure before accessing. Hopefully I'll get to that and step foot into the foreboding realm next chapter. Until then, this is the Ekron Writers signing out, and I'll see you guys next chapter. See you then later.